of, who work at EOP with us, and they serve as bridge mentors who will also be, walking you through their experience. We'll have some other staff introduce themselves as well. I know some of our other counselors may be on the call, or some of our student apprentices, and then we'll jump into it. And I just wanted to say that the stories are specific to the individuals, so they're not meant to highlight, everything that you're going to experience. And you may see some of the experiences in yourself, and there is no one first generation college student experience. And so I just wanted to start off by saying that there may be some areas where you can relate to folks in here, and other areas where you may not. And I think that's the beauty of what we have in this community, is that we have a lot of folks with various identities. And so I did want to talk, or we just, have that opportunity to go through that. And as most folks on this call know, you're either a part of Bridge or was invited through one of our campus partners. And so, at EOP, we really like to say, we're rooted in the civil rights movement, and that, a lot of the work that we do is social justice work. We want to think about things that we can do to help eliminate barriers for students who may be first generation or come from a historically low income community. And so a part of what I want you all to take away from today is just in hearing these stories, taking away tips, tricks, and things that you can do, what we call best practices, as you start your first year here. A lot of the students who you'll be hearing from have past experience in the Bridge program and just experience as a student at UC Santa Cruz. And so they have a lot of information to offer. We will be hosting a Q&A session at the end. So we encourage you to, if you have questions, please do put them in the chat. We will be screening the questions in that we're not going to be answering the same questions multiple times. So if you do have it, or if you do see a question in the chat, know that we'll get to it towards the end. And so with that said, I'm going to ask and see, is there any of the other counselors or student apprentices that are on that you can introduce yourself? And I see a whole bunch of names on the screen, so I may just ask some folks to jump in. Let me see. I think I see Audrey on here. Audrey, can you introduce yourself and say a little bit about your role? Sorry to put you on the spot, by the way, as well.
Hi, yes, it's okay. My name is Audrey. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I recently graduated, and right now I'm acting as one of the student affairs apprentices for EOP. So right now my role for EOP is to plan the training event, training week for all the EOP student staff. That's mostly what I'm working on right now, and I'm also hoping to, gain some more knowledge on advising and counseling skills. Mario, is there anything else?
No, that was it. I know I didn't let y'all know ahead of time, and I think you might be the only other staff member other than the Bridge mentors. So we can start with the mentors, and we're actually going to start recording right now. So yes, Jocelyn, we can start.
Hi, okay, so I started screen sharing and recording also. So we're gonna first start off with our student introductions, and the first one will be Andrew.
As you guys heard, my name is Andrew Rodriguez. I'm a pronoun he, him, his. I am a combined politics and LALS major. I am a crazy affiliate, and a fun fact about me is during the summer I learned to solve a 3x3 Rubik's Cube.
Okay, next will be Carolina.
Hello, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Griselda, but I go by Carolina. I'm pronoun she, her, hers. I'm a third year psych major affiliated with Merrill. And one fun fact about me is that I love to dance. I've been dancing for 7 years, and I am from Pasadena, California.
Okay, and the next one will be Esteban.
Hi everyone, my name is Esteban Rosales. I am a second year. My major is human biology. My pronouns are he, him, his. I am from Sacramento, and my college is College 9 affiliation. And fun fact about me is that I've seen the TV show Friends for more than 10 times the entire series. Thank you.
Next will be Lisette.
Hi, my name is Lizette Bautista. I'm a third year and I'm majoring in sociology. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm affiliated with Oaks.
I'm a first year.
And my hometown is LA. And a fun fact about me is I like running marathons.
Okay, next will be Raquel.
Hi, I'm Raquel Enriquez, and I'm a second year Oaks affiliate. My major is a combined major in environmental studies and biology. I'm from the Bay Area, and a fun fact about me is that I'm also on our school's cheer team.
Okay, our next introduction will be from Maria.
Hi everyone, my name is Maria Diego. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am a third year neuroscience major affiliated with Oaks, and my hometown is LA. And a fun fact about me is that I like to collect earrings. I'm wearing basket earrings today.
Our next introduction will be from Ian.
Hello, my name is Ian Vedetta. I am a second year affiliated with Kresge. I use he, him, his pronouns. I'm doubling in art and also theater design. I'm from Mount Shasta, California, and I have over 15 houseplants.
Okay, our next introduction will be from Carla.
Hi everyone, my name is Carla Mena. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And I'm a third year biochemistry major and I'm affiliated with Oaks. A fun fact about me is that I like cats and I have a cat.
Our next introduction will be from Mari.
Hi everyone, my name is Mari Elena, but I go by Mari. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am a sociology and legal studies combined major. I'm from Cal College, but my hometown is in Pittsburgh, California. A fun fact about me is I'm a black belt in Taekwondo.
Okay, hi everyone, my name is Jocelyn. I'm a third year. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm a math major. I'm from San Diego, California. I'm affiliated with Merrill, and a fun fact about me is that I love to do crafts. Okay, and we will now start with our student presentations. The first one will be by Carolina.
Hi, y'all. Sorry you guys can't see me. Like, I have really bad signal here at work. But today I'm going to be talking about transitioning into college. Next slide. So I just wanted to start off by saying congratulations to you guys, to all you guys. I know as first generation low-income students, we go through a lot of struggles that others don't, and we don't have enough guidance like others do. So just the fact that you guys made it here and you guys applied to this program just shows a lot about your dedication and your hard work. So just give yourself a pat on the back for that. So the first thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is the differences between high school and college. So in high school, teachers will constantly remind you when things are due. You can easily form a relationship with your teacher. It's easy to procrastinate, and you have the same classes and classmates throughout the year. But in college, it is always up to you to remind yourself to do the work. Professors will never remind you when to do anything. The only time that they'll remind you of something is when you have an exam the next day. But other than that, like your homework and your assignments, it's all up to you to do them and check on the due date. Professors have hundreds of other students, therefore they are not as accessible as high school teachers, which is why office hours are very important. So what office hours are is just when professors just set a time and a date where they allow students to come into the office, but since everything's going to be online through a Zoom, and you just ask them questions, and it's really good to just introduce yourself to the professor because, you know, they have other hundreds of students and you just want to make connections with them. So procrastination will stress you out like never before. College work is very different than high school work. You are going to need more than an hour to do most of your homework. So never procrastinate the day of, and always set aside time to do work. And you're going to have different classes and meet so many people throughout the academic year. So it's always good to make connections. So the quote I put there is, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. I just think making connections in college is really important. One, because you're going to have to make the connection with a faculty member or someone, because hopefully we would still be able to make our, create our faculty dinner where you have to invite like a faculty member. So that's a really good way to start. And two, like if you want to like go to grad school or something, you're going to need a letter of recommendation from a professor. And it's just a good way to start making connections with people, because it could help you with a job offer later on in the future, or like with an internship and like things like that. And the first connection that you will make in college would be with your roommates. So I know it's going to be different this year since everything is going to be online and some may not be on campus this fall. But this is just my personal experience, like Mario said, and I just wanted to talk to you guys about it. If you guys do end up moving here on campus. So with me and my roommates, I had two other roommates, and we were very different, which is not, it wasn't a bad thing. It was, you know, we like balanced each other out in a way, because I was very outgoing and they were very like quiet and stuff. So we just learned how to create a safe space between all of us three, because this is going to be your home away from home. You're going to have to set boundaries, because you guys are recommended or required to do roommate agreements. Like say you bring someone over past 10 and your roommate's trying to study for an exam the next day, obviously that's going to cause problems. So that's what the roommate agreements are there for. I know with me, we didn't really have a lot of problems. We just learned how to, you know, keep our stuff with our stuff, you know, like in just shared space. And it's really important to do that, because you want your first year to have like, to be a good experience and drama free. So that's just a good way to start with roommate agreements. And the next thing I want to talk about is dining halls, which are always a hit or miss. Once again, like this is going to be different for you guys, since some of you guys are not going to be moving on campus for fall. But I just wanted to give you guys a list of some of the colleges, some of the dining halls around campus. So these are the 5 dining halls here on campus. And why I say hit or miss is because there's days where they have really good food, you know, like you're like, wow, like I never had this before, it's really good. And there's other days where you just look at the menu and you're like, what? Like, I don't want to eat none of this. But we do have cafes and restaurants around campus where you could use your flexi dollars. And what flexi dollars are is just money that the school gives you. It's like $50, I think. The money that the school gives you just to buy things. So like if you don't want anything from the dining hall, you can just go to one of the restaurants or cafes on campus. And I know for me, food reminds me of home, because I grew up in a Mexican household where, you know, my mom always had the best food served. So every time I would be at the dining hall, and like I was like on Thursdays we would have chilaquiles at Merrill, and that always reminded me of home, because like it made me miss home and stuff. So like I wanted to talk to you guys about homesickness. So some of the ways that I wrote down here for you guys to prevent homesickness is just schedule 1 or 2 days of the week where you call your loved ones. So for me, I made Sunday my family day. So like I would call my mom every Sunday just to let her know how I was, because I know she's a very anxious person, and I know a lot of you guys are going to be far away from home, and your parents, like that's going to be like the number one thing is they're not gonna know how you are or what you're doing. So just setting aside time for them is really crucial, just for them and for yourself, because I know like you're gonna be really busy and you're just like, okay, I need to call home. Like if you're stressed or anything, that really helps. And never go back home more than 2 or 3 times in one quarter. So the more you go back home, the more homesickness you're homesick you're gonna get. So like if you go back home for more than 3 times, obviously you're gonna be like, wow, I miss it here. I miss my friends. I miss doing this. I miss not having work. Like stuff like that. So it's really important just to stay here and create a home away from home in Santa Cruz, and just like surround yourself with people that remind you of home. Like I know for me, I was lucky enough to have a friend that I went to middle school and high school with, and now we go to college together. So like that was really good for me because she reminded me of home. Like we were from the same city. So that was like my part of home away from home with her, and just engage in activities that remind you of home. So what I mean by that is I was in a dance team back at home, and I really wanted to continue that over here in Santa Cruz. So what I did was just looked up any dance teams here on campus and just got involved in that, which like really helped. Just it made me feel like comfortable in this area because there's other people that like have the same passion as I do and like enjoy the same things I do. So that's like a good way to prevent homesickness. And on the topic of like extracurriculars and stuff, I wanted to talk about social life, extracurriculars, and work. So right here on this slide, I gave you guys a list of sources. You guys could see, so student-led clubs and organizations. That's a link that just shows you all the types of clubs that they have there. Like they have academic clubs, they have performing arts clubs, they have all the frats and sororities there. And then I have EOP and all of the ethnic resource centers that you could always like get a job at or an internship or just volunteer at, and just get like a sense of the environment here at UC Santa Cruz and just like all the resources that they provide. So I know like it's really hard to maintain your social life with all your extracurriculars and all the work. So right here on the time management sheet, I gave you guys like a little example of how my schedule looked my first quarter here, which was really packed. Like time management sheet will help you know your availability. So it's very important to do one of these because it really helps, like, just like it says, manage your time. Like if you guys could see that, I know it's like kind of small, but I set a time where I woke up every day. I set a time where I ate lunch, where I ate dinner. When I eat dinner, like on my classes, like it's really helpful just to stay organized and not be like so stressed about like what's next, what's to do next and stuff like that. And the next one is your Google Calendar. So Google Calendar helps you remind you of meetings, classwork that needs to be done, or you need to like organize or whatever. So I suggest that you guys get really used to start getting used to Google Calendar, because this is going to be one of the major ways that your mentors are going to set up meetings with y'all. It's just a great way to get organized. I don't know if some of you guys already have your class schedules and stuff, so you guys could start by putting in all your class schedule here on Google Calendar, just to get a sense of the organization that you're going to have to do since everything's going to be online. And the next one is Canvas. So this is going to be your best friend when it comes to your academic work. So what Canvas is just like where all your courses have all the assignments there. They're going to have all your grades. This is where almost all of your professors are going to send announcements on, which is really important. Like you're going to get an announcement saying, oh, exam canceled or class canceled. This would be the app where you check. And it's really sufficient and really like organized. Like if you guys could see that was a screenshot of like my to-do list this summer. So it tells me like I had 2 papers due on Friday. Like I had the assignments due that week. Like it's just really good to keep track of this, because you don't want to fall behind on any assignments and stuff like that. And the last one I wanted to talk to you guys about was my UCSC, which would be another one of your best friends. Like, it's everything important in terms of your status as a student here on campus. I'm sure most of you guys already know, like, or have gotten like a sense of what this website is. So this is where, if you need to make payments for your tuition or for anything like that, this is where you go. This is where the school is gonna have you, like, if the school has requirements for you, this is where you're gonna check. Like, anything like important like that, this is the website where you check. And if you guys aren't like very familiar with the website, you could always ask your mentor to like help you navigate through the website. And yeah, that's pretty much all of the things I have today for you guys. If you want to contact me personally, I put my email there for y'all. Thank you.
All right. And I just want to remind folks that if you do have questions, you can put them in the chat. Like I mentioned earlier, we will be screening and taking questions at the end, but as they come up for you, if you don't want to forget it and you just want to include it in the chat, we're monitoring that.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Okay, perfect. So my name is Esteban Rosales, and I'm going to be talking about career and major exploration, what that means, how I've chosen to explore a major and a career and some ways to do that, as well as my experiences and opinions in this area. Okay, so what is a major and a career? So I decided to put the definitions of what a major and a career is because we might all have different perspectives and ideas as regarding to these definitions. So I wanted to put in what a major is, and a major is an area of study that requires certain concentration of classes that you specialize in order to receive a degree. And a career is an occupation undertaken for a long period of a person's life and with opportunities for progress. So what that means in regarding to school and college, with my major, I am a human biology major. So some of the concentration of classes that I've taken will be biology, chemistry, human physiology, and anatomy. Those are the type of classes combined together that make up my focus and area of study. And for a career, some of the careers that could align with my major would be working towards medical school, or working in the government, public health, or a nonprofit organization. Something that could be beneficial for you and what your interests are as well. And a method to do this, to decide for a major and a career, is academic exploration. And I've written down here that it's an act of checking out different academic subjects in order to receive a range of exposure of the many educational possibilities. So when it comes to exploring a major, you're going to be able to decide so many different classes in college. And with a career as well, you'll be able to decide what's right for you and explore the many different possibilities that life offers when deciding what career you want to undertake. So a way to explore in school is through the general education requirements, and some of you might be familiar with what those are. They are the GE requirements, and they are a variety of courses offered to develop a student's skills and knowledge to prosper a well-rounded education for students. So for GEs, you'll be able to have the chance to complete them throughout all of your 4 years. As I've highlighted on here, it does not have to be completed in the first 2 years. And I strongly suggest you complete them in the 4 years, because if you're taking classes for your major, you'll probably want to take some class that is not aligned with your major, but you're interested in maybe when you're a third or a fourth year, because all of your classes that you're taking for a major, you might be too focused on those, but you want to be able to expose yourself to others. So the general ed requirements are there for you to give you a chance to explore many different classes. With me, since I'm a human bio major, I've only focused on biology and chemistry and math. But I decided that I've always wanted to explore something different. And when I did what I did with that is take a different language. So I decided to take Italian because I've always been interested in that language and I've always wanted to learn another language. So I decided to take Italian. And right now I'm actually going to be taking an intro to directing class, which has nothing to do with my major. But I decided to choose it because it sounded really interesting to me. And that's what I want to talk with my next point is you want to be able to choose classes that interest you. I've only chosen classes that motivate me, that it might seem boring to others, but I know that I can study at night. You know, I'd be up at 2 o'clock in the morning studying chemistry, Italian, because I'm genuinely interested in those topics. And another great way to explore classes is with Rate My Professor. So with Rate My Professor, you are able to go on their website and look up a professor and their class and see how they have structured the class. Well, whether that be seeing how their syllabus is, how their homework or their tests are, whether they're hard or not. And usually every time I sign up for a class, I always go to Rate My Professor to see what other students' opinions and perspectives have been on that class. I don't depend on Rate My Professor because a professor might have a really low score because some students might not have liked that professor, but you have to think back and remember that those are those students' perspectives into Rate My Professor. And if you're interested in that class, but it seems like other students might not have liked it, those are those students' opinions. So it's a great tool to get an insight into what the class will look like, but don't depend on it 100%. And another thing that I want to talk to you all about is family responsibility. So with me and my major, I am a STEM major, and I chose that major because I'm generally interested in going into human biology, not because my family pressured me into it. As a first generation student, my family has always wanted the best for me. And while they have always said that they support me in no matter what major I choose, they've always dropped the little hints here and there to say, oh, it'd be great if you become a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer, but don't be pressured into choosing a major because of what your family says. You want to be able to choose and choose something that you're generally interested in, something that you can work on 24/7, that you talk about with other people your major and you bring a smile on that face. Something that you can do for a long time, not because other people have told you to do it, but because you told yourself to do it. So with exploring a career, some of the ways that I've explored a career is to identify my goals, my strengths and opportunities of growth. I've taken some self-assessments, and which I'll also talk about on my other slides. But I've identified some of my goals. So some of the things that human biology might align with me. I've made a list, some pros and cons lists. I've actually sometimes made so many pros and cons lists into a specific career that could align with my major. And I've also done a list for some of the careers that I definitely don't want to do. But it's a good idea to sometimes take a step back and reflect on why you have chosen this major and what career path you could do with that major. And another great way is to look at internships and volunteer programs. So for me, with a human biology major, I'm not 100% sure that I want to go into medical school. But what I've done is I've applied to some medical school internships that will help me get an insight into whether or not I want to be a doctor or not. And some other ways is some volunteer programs, whether it be like for me helping at a hospice care or volunteering at a hospital or anything that if you're interested in a career but you don't know what it would look like, it's a great idea to look at internships or volunteer programs to get an insight as well. And I want to touch on my next point is keeping your options open. I think with me, sometimes other people, when I tell them that I'm a human biology major, they presume that I'm going to be doing medical school, but it's not necessarily the case. I could do whatever I want with my major. My major does not impact my career trajectory in any way. Whatever I decide, it's a good idea to keep an open mind because you never know what your future is going to be like. Nobody knows, but it's always a good idea to keep an open mind because let's say for me, I might not go to medical school, but I could open up a business or I could work for a nonprofit or anything. The possibilities are endless, basically. So it's always a good idea to keep your options open. Some resources that I've listed on here is college advising versus major advising. So what college advising is, it's there to help students understand campus-wide requirements such as general education, academic progress, and degree information. And what major advising is, it's there to help students understand major requirements, prerequisites, and how to plan for courses for your major and can advise you on any major qualifications requirements. So what all that means is that college advisors, there are 10 colleges in the university. So I'm a College 9 affiliate. So I can email my college advisor at College 9 and they'll be able to help me with any questions regarding classes or how I can obtain my degree if I'm on track, or just talking to them with any concerns I have about school. What major advisors have done is that they've helped me learn about the prereqs about advising. So how many classes I have, what are some of the classes that I have to take in order to complete my major. So the last time I talked to my human biology advisor, they told me that I have to take a Spanish requirement and that I also have to take an internship as well. And I never knew that about my major, but I'm glad that I went to my major advisor because they've helped me understand some of the points that come up with my major. And I've also talked to EOP advisors as well, specifically STEM advisors that the EOP offers. They have been able to help me with any questions I've had about my major, classes, even talking to them about roommate troubles that I've had before, and sometimes financial aid as well. So EOP advisors are there to help you with any questions you might have, whether it be classes, majors, or just talking about your problems or the day you've had. And the last one is the UCSC Career Center. It is a great place for you to go for workshops about careers. They can also help you with career counseling as well. They also offer many internships and volunteer programs resources. So if you, that's how I was able to find out about the medical program through the Career Center. And so they're able to advise you with anything you might have questions on about careers, jobs, volunteer programs. And they can also help you build your resume as well as your cover letter. They've actually helped me personally with my resume and make a cover letter. And they can also help you with an interview. It's called a mock interview trial. So if you have a job lined up and you're kind of nervous about it, they can actually help you set up sort of a pre-interview practice to get all of your nerves and fears out of the way. And I've listed their email here as well, to contact them if you have any questions, as well as the EOP advisors. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, you can contact me here. That is my personal email. And now we're going to be going to Maddie to talk about learning in a virtual environment.
Hi everyone. Once again, my name is Maddie Elena, but I go by Maddie. Today I will be talking about learning virtually. Next slide, please. Okay, so first I'm going to talk about the issues I've had with learning virtually. So first off, I did move back home last quarter in spring, and that was very difficult for me to make that decision because for me, yeah, I did it the day before, like everything was due. I only had a few hours to pack. Once I did get home, I had a lot of new responsibilities. I shared with my sister, so I couldn't stay up that late at night studying. And plus, I share a house with 6 other individuals, so sometimes it could get a little bit hectic. I also did find it a lot easier to slack off and also very distracting at times because I'm staring at a screen all day. And it was just, like very difficult in the beginning to get used to. But next slide, please. There were actually many benefits to online learning. So one thing I really did love about online learning was that I was able to rewatch and also record lectures. A lot of my professors were okay with me using my iPad to record a lecture just in case I need to go back through it. Also reduce costs because living on campus was very expensive sometimes because I provide for myself financially. So living on campus, I had to work and also buy stuff for myself. But coming home, my dad's been more able to help me with stuff, so that was great. And also the flexibility. So I was able to basically not be on a set schedule. I didn't have to run up and down campus and just be frantically trying to get on a bus. It was very easy for me to just be on a computer and then afterwards do whatever I had to do in the time I didn't have classes. And also I was able to connect more with teachers because with lecture halls, there's hundreds of students sometimes in lecture halls. And it was hard sometimes after class because 10 or 15 students would be lining up already to talk with the professor and he did not know how long it was going to take. And they had set times for Zoom for office hours. And it was easier to get a hold of them by email since everyone was home. So that helped me create a lot of basically relationships with my professors. So that was another thing I really liked. And also the CARE Act. I'm not sure if that will be available to the freshmen coming in or during the fall quarter, but basically the CARE Act was a grant that they gave students. I got $500, for example, of money to use towards food, notebooks, and other stuff that I needed, and it was completely free. So that was one thing that helped me out a lot. And finally, networking with other students. That is very important. It has been talked before on the other slides. Honestly, I know sometimes you feel very isolated, but talking to other students, emailing them, seeing who's on campus in your class, and even making a group through Zoom and also sharing Google Docs so that you guys can share your notes and everything is super helpful. For me, a lot of students emailed me and I actually made some friends in classes and it was actually easy to relate to each other. So that was one thing I really did enjoy about online learning. Next slide, please. And there's also many tips to help with online classes. So as I said before, rewatching the lectures. That's a great tip to have because when you rewatch the lectures, just in case you missed something the first time, the second time you'll be able to, catch up where you left off, or even just take notes with something that you might not have heard the first time. And Google Calendar. This has honestly helped me out so much with being in college because I turn on reminders and notifications. They'll tell me 15 minutes before when class starts, or even just when assignments are due, which is great. And also one thing that really did help me is notebooks for each class. Because if you put all your notes in one notebook, you are going to get everything mixed up and confused, and sometimes you'll forget dates. So having a separate notebook for each class is a great way to stay organized, and also folders for each class. So just in case if your professor has you print out any loose papers or just in case a paper falls from your notebook and you really need it, you put a name tag for your folder and you put it in there and you're able to stay organized. And also another thing I found very helpful was that if I had a question, I would write it down in a different color and ask it in office hours. So it would stand out for my notes and I'd be oh, okay, I have to ask that question when they're in office hours. And also if you have a desk or if you're anywhere in the house, make sure your space is organized, because for me, if I have a very cluttered desk, it makes me very distracted because I'm trying to move things in a type of way. It just really helps to keep your mind fresh and also to make sure that you're able to, do what you got to do and not be distracted. And also writing in different colors to make your notes stand out. For me, I have done this since I was in high school, and honestly, like, even just drawing arrows or like even just writing in different colors has allowed me to follow my notes more clearly, and even rewriting my notes sometimes, because if I don't understand something, how is that going to help me? So, just rewriting in different colors is a great way to, stay organized, and also like to help you find what you're looking for. And watching YouTube videos on your classes. This is another great resource as well, because I know for me, math was a very big struggle for me, and sometimes I did not get what the professor was talking about, and I had like my section like in a week. So if I didn't get exactly what happened on the first day, I would look up the YouTube video and just try some practice problems and follow along while they were talking, and that was a great way to do that. And another great resource is MSI, LSS, or ACE. Each of these programs are brought to you by like the school system, and they help with like a lot of different subjects, not just math. They can help you with literature and other stuff as well. And at the very final slide, there is a link to the LSS site that does take you to MSI and ACE. But yeah, it's a really great tool to help you with like if you're stuck on something. Next slide, please. And there's other ways that help as well. Talking to family. So for me, like I said before, living with 6 other people in the house can sometimes get crazy, but talking with my family and just also making them understand that, hey, like, I'm taking classes, I'm also working, and like to give me my space and boundaries at certain times during the day was very easy to do. And even my dad's trying to help me and my sister build a study shed for us, which is great. But just in general, like, please try talking to your family and tell them like, hey, like, I actually am gonna need time to myself. Do you think you can help me like with making some time for me to like be in here and, just a quiet space for you while you're doing your classes? And another thing that really did help me was exercise and self-care. I cannot emphasize this enough. Self-care and exercise are one of the greatest ways for you to feel better about yourself and to also get your blood pumping. For me, the UCSC system, they had a lot of exercise classes, and I did at least one each day, and I made myself go, and I felt great afterwards. And it made it easier for me to concentrate on my classes, because you take time to like actually work out, pump your blood, and then I was ready to take notes or do classes. And also taking advantage of your school resources. UCSC has a bunch of school resources if you're able to look through it and take the time to look into them. So I encourage you all to please look into your resources that are here on campus, especially for your major, because sometimes they have scholarships and internships for your major, and you might never know. Next slide, please. And also another thing that I do want to touch up upon because of the pandemic was your mental health. So being home is very, very stressful sometimes, but as I said before, maybe trying to find activities to distract you can help. And also know that you are not alone. Reach out to advisors and your friends, because they can help you with like however you're feeling. And another great resource that we have on campus is called CAPS. And CAPS stands for Counseling and Psychological Services, which is a service that UCSC has for free for when you start. And it's really great because, if you don't want to talk to your friends or your family, if you just want to talk to some stranger, you know what I mean? Or just have someone who can maybe relate sometimes or give you advice, you can talk to someone with CAPS. And I believe they do have that for fall. I'm not 100% sure, but pretty sure they have that. And also the DRC, which stands for the Disability Resource Center. The DRC can accommodate you and allow you to succeed. So the DRC for me personally has helped me with my testing anxiety and like other things as well. And they can just help you with if you need like any accommodations, or if you're dealing with something stressful too, they can try accommodating you and helping you pass your classes and other stuff as well. So it's a really great resource to have and to use. So I really, really 100% recommend these sources. Next slide, please. And finally, like I said before, there are other resources, and all of these are hyperlinks. So if any of you want to like look more into it, you can just click on it, it'll take you right there. As I talked about before, the Disability Resource Center, I really love it. It's a really great way for you to get accommodated and other stuff as well. The Textbook Lending Library, which is a source that's offered by EOP. So each fall, spring, and winter, there's a time where you can apply to get textbooks for free. They will give you $120 towards textbooks. And please look into it, because honestly, textbooks are expensive. And if you don't have to pay for it, get it for free. And also, like I said before, CAPS, which is another great resource for counseling and also to, get stuff off your chest. And because you're a college student, you get Microsoft Office for free. So if you put in your email address online for Microsoft Office, you will get all these great resources for free, like Word and, other stuff that they have on there. So I really recommend that you get that free resource for you. And also the UC system is offering reduced internet access. So this will take you to a website that will tell you if you qualify or not, and if you can get reduced internet access, and it will be very fast and very speedy. So please look into that. And another resource that is great is Slug Support. So Slug Support can help you with a lot of your financial needs, or even counsel you if you have any financial crises going on. So if you need $500, or if you need just help in how to do a budget or something like that, Slug Support is there to help you. And learning support services, which I've talked about before, which can give you a variety of help with your classes, tutoring, and other stuff as well. And also the ITS services, which stands for Internet Technology Services, that is provided to you by the UC system. So if you want to request anything from ITS, like Wi-Fi, computers, or something else like that, you can put in a ticket, and then you can get a response, and they will call you, and they will try working something out with you so that you can get the technology and stuff that you need. And I also put a link to scholarships, because everyone needs free money. So the scholarships, that the website that I put there, it has scholarships all around the country for every major and everything else like that. So since you're home, why not do a couple of scholarships and see if you get lucky? And finally, USS, which stands for Undocumented Student Services. So if you need help with any type of legal or other stuff as well, please look into USS. It's a great resource that is provided by EOP. And yeah, thank you so much for listening to my presentation. Again, my name is Maria Elena Benavides, but I go by Mari. My email and my phone number are on there. So yeah, thank you so much, and get ready for the next presentation.
Hey everyone, so again, my name is Maria. I am a third year neuroscience major. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, cool. So before I start my presentation, I want to encourage everyone to ask as many questions you have. We're here to answer those questions, to give you our personal experience, to answer those, and then Mario will also be part of answering those questions. So literally ask anything. So today I will be talking about family transitions. So this is my family. I am the eldest of 3 kids. I have a younger sister who is 16 and a little brother who is 7, but this picture is from last year, so that's why it's different ages. And again, I am from LA, so these are some of the struggles that I feel like I had to go through my first year, and honestly still. First is being a first generation college student. I know many can relate, being the first in their families to leave home and go to school, and it's scary because no one else in your family has done that. That's an achievement in itself, but it's also a scary thought, For me, before leaving before leaving home, I was really scared about what I was going to experience, especially since I didn't know anyone from my high school who was going to go to Santa Cruz, or anyone who was leaving in that area. I was really scared, but for my family, I just told them that I was just really happy to be going. And then another struggle is that I'm undocumented. I'm the only undocumented child in my family. So for me, for the longest, my dad has been in charge of my legal documents, being in charge of my applications. And so for him to allow me to go, for my family to allow me to go to school so far away, they needed to make sure that I was responsible enough to be in charge of that myself on my own. And I'll be talking more about it later, but that's where I use undocumented student services that Mari mentioned. And then my last thing that I also wanted to talk about was being hours away from home. LA is a 6-hour drive, 6 to 7 hours if you take breaks. And then it's an hour and a half trip if you do flights. So I'll be talking about those. So first generation college student, again, you're the first in their family to go to college. And these are like some of the struggles that I laid out. Who can you ask for help? Who can you look up to? I personally had a cousin who went to college, and I kind of relied on her, but at the same time, I still felt really alone being the only one in my family. Like, I'm going to be the first one to go through this. Like, I should prepare myself so that when my sister and my brother go through it, I can be there for them. But it's also scary, because it's like, I can't ask my parents for help. Like, they're going to be asking me questions. Who can I ask questions from? The other thing is that I'm learning to balance social life, personal life, and academic life while being expected to excel in college and feeling pressure from family, from peers, and friends to do your best. For me, for example, in high school, I was always expected to get A's, straight A's, no B's in high school. So I think it wasn't as hard as it is in college because going into college, I didn't think that academics was going to be really hard. I didn't know anything about college. My high school class, it was 150 students. So it was really small. Every class was like a little bit over 20 students. So I knew everybody in my high school. In college, I was going to be alone. So I was just thinking, oh my God, this is going to be so scary. What am I going to do? And then the last one I put is, what do I do when I experience the imposter syndrome? So for those of you who don't know what the imposter syndrome is, it is defined as a psychological pattern in which one doubts their accomplishments and has an internalized fear of being exposed as an imposter. It's feelings of not belonging, of faking, or feeling like you're not doing enough. And for example, I feel like a lot of first generation college students go through this once, like at least once. And if you don't, then that's okay. And if you do, it's still okay. I put an example. For example, let's see. My first year, I took calculus, and I took calculus in high school. So I was thinking, I'm going to do okay. I'm going to do okay because I've taken calculus before. I'm just going to go through the class again. And I remember failing the midterm. I failed the midterm, and it was the first time I have ever failed anything, like any test in my life. And I was so sad. But what helped me make me feel a little bit better was that there was a lot of students who felt really scared and who also failed the midterm. And these are some of like the ways that I have combated the imposter syndrome. So first is distinguishing facts over feelings. The fact is you failed the midterm. The feelings that I felt behind it was, I don't belong in this class, or I'm too dumb to take this class, or I don't even belong at this school. But the solution to that was that I had to get into my mind that failures and mistakes are inevitable. Like for me, I just have to change my mindset to learn from those mistakes and do better. And so after failing that midterm, I changed my study habits. I went to MSI, which I will be talking about later on. And I didn't want to give up in that class because there's some students who do, and then the grade affects their GPA, but it's better for you to just understand that it's gonna happen. There's a lot of students who haven't failed the class, and that's okay. But if it does, like, you shouldn't be scared. It's part of the process. It's part of learning as a first generation college student. I also put acknowledge your accomplishments. And what I meant by that is that you've made it so far already. Before college, I had a lot of clubs I was a part of, a lot of leadership positions that I won, internships and jobs that I was a part of. So I always felt like pretty good about myself. But then going into college, I was just one out of thousands of students. And that's where I kind of felt out of place. But it's important to acknowledge everything you've done so far and see your own potential that you can do more, even if it's like in a new environment. So next thing is that you acknowledge your emotions and ask for help. Because some of you are part of Bridge, I felt like Bridge helped me so much get through my first year of college. I was scared, but so was everybody. And it's important to ask for help. You have the rest of the mentees, you have your mentors, you have academic counselors, major advisors, plenty of resources to ask for help. And it's just important to know that you're not alone and that you have plenty of people to around you to talk to your feelings about. So these are the resources I used. I said EOP Bridge because I was a mentee. Some of us here are where you were 2 years ago. That's for me. I was really scared, but through Bridge, I met my friends who are now my housemates, my best friends. I went through academic counseling, so I knew they helped me figure out like what classes to take, when order to take it in. And like if I was too scared, for example, my first quarter, I was too scared to take chemistry because although I'm a STEM major, a science major, neuroscience, I still feel like I need a lot of practice in science. Like it's not my strong suit, and that's okay. So I was too scared to take chemistry. I left it off for later on, and that's okay. I feel like I'm at a good place. I'm not behind, but academic counselors help me with that. You also get priority enrollment, so you're gonna get a spot in the classes that you want. Use that to your advantage because for me and a lot of Bridgies that year, we used it to take a Pixar class that fulfills a GE, and it was so much fun. It was like a really chill class that I got an A in. And then the textbook lending library, I have not spent a single dollar in textbooks, and I'm in my 3rd year. So I probably saved up hundreds of dollars that a lot of students end up using to buy textbooks. So the textbook lending library is a resources from EOP that helps you borrow textbooks that you need, like the specific textbook that you need for a class, without having to pay for it. You just need to return it. You can't annotate in it, which is like probably a con. If you really want to annotate in it, then you should probably buy your own, but it saves you a lot of money. And then they also give you money for access codes for your homework, because if you didn't know it, some classes require you to buy like a subscription to a website so that you can turn in your homework, which honestly sucks. I did not know college was going to be like that, but textbook lending library helped me pay for that. The next thing is the First Generation Initiative. I worked with the First Gen Initiative last year, and we had different guest speakers come from different careers to talk about like their journey as a first generation college student. And it kind of helps you think, life after college. How's my life gonna be as a first generation college student after college? They also have a student committee that helps plan events. They didn't really do workshops because it's more of planning bigger events throughout the year. And there's a lot of resources on their website. I, for example, was in charge of the page where we interviewed students and we asked them about their personal transitions. And we also have interviews like with parents about how they feel when their kids leave for college. And those are translated. We have some in Spanish, some in Mandarin, and those are on that website, and I have that linked. And on the right, you see a flyer that we had from last year. We celebrated first generation students on campus, and we did like a little scrapbook, and we asked them, who do you want to shout out? Who helped you with your journey, or what does first gen mean to you? And we were taking pictures by the quarry, which is like where the bookstore is. And it was just a lot of fun. You get to see that you're not alone and that there's a lot of students that go through the same thing you go through. Another resource that I used was Modified Supplemental Instruction, which is MSI that we mentioned earlier. And MSI honestly has helped me so much. It's extra support in specific classes that are taught by students. There's students who have passed a class with a B or higher, so they know the class. Sometimes they know the professor, like how they'll teach, what they will have on the final, on the midterms. It's free, it's not mandatory. So if you show up to one session and you don't think that you like the tutor, like you don't like the way they teach, you don't have to show up to the next one. It's not like a commitment, it's just extra support. And I've used that for all of my science classes, all of my math classes that I've taken. And then other resources that I have used is the DRC, which Mari said is the Disability Resource Center. And they have in-class accommodations, which is like note-taking support. If you think you need a note taker, I was a note taker for probably 10 students. and you get paid for that if you want to be a note taker. So if you, for example, for me in high school, I, like Mari said, I used a lot of like different colors. My notes are known to be really pretty, but in college, I was like, how can I use that to my advantage? I didn't know there was a note-taking job, so I did that for my full first year. I was a note taker, and I just took notes and then took pictures and then sent them out to the students who needed them, and I got paid for that, which is really cool. And then they have exam accommodations, which is like extended testing time. If you only have an hour to do an exam, they give you like an hour and a half extra. And they have the option of distraction reduced testing environment where like for example, my math class, it was probably a big lecture hall of like 350, maybe 300 students. And I realized I had testing anxiety when we were taking the midterm. And it was just scary seeing and like feeling a lot of pressure seeing all these students, once they finish their exam early, they would just go up and leave. And like students getting up and leaving while I'm here like struggling on this problem. So I decided to go to the DRC to see what I can do about that, like feeling anxious and then not being able to like focus anymore. And they gave me extended testing time, and they gave me like they put me in a class where it was like 30 students, so it didn't feel like as anxious finishing the exam. And then the last one I included was El Centro, the Chicanx Latinx Resource Center, where they have lots of events for Latinx students. Two that I put that stood out the most to me was La Bienvenida, which they have lots of kind of like a club fair. I think that's what they called it in my high school, where just all the clubs set up and they tell you about what their clubs do, kind of like that. La Bienvenida had all these clubs that are centered on Latinx students, like the Salsa Club, the Mecha Club, all of these that I like truly made me feel like I wasn't alone. The next one I put was the Dia de los Muertos ceremonia, which honestly made me feel like I was at home. Like Carolina said, I tried to find a home away from home in Santa Cruz, and the El Centro they hosted an event for Dia de los Muertos, and they had tamales, they had conchas, they had chocolate, they had like arts and crafts that you can do. And that's where it really made me feel like I was in the right place, and I didn't really feel the imposter syndrome anymore. And especially being hours away from home, every time I called my family, and sometimes I would cry and I would just say like, it's so hard, classes are so hard, I don't know what to do, I don't know like who to ask for help. And they always felt helpless. My parents always felt like, I'm so sorry, we never went through this, so we don't know how to help you. But once I found all these resources and I took advantage of them, and it assured my parents that I was in a good place, that I wasn't alone, it definitely made the transition from family to college easier, smoother, because they didn't feel helpless anymore. They knew that I had all these resources, so they were okay, I was okay. Next one is being undocumented. So like I said, I was never in charge of my legal work. I don't know anything, or I didn't know anything 2 years ago. But then I didn't know that UCSC had an undocumented student services program, which has all of these services that I listed out. They have workshops to help you apply for the DREAM Act. So unlike other students who have to fill out FAFSA, I had to fill out the DREAM Act. And honestly, just like the thought of not being able to do FAFSA, that kind of made me sad. Like, who's gonna help me? So they have workshops for that. They have peer mentoring and personal support. I had my own mentor outside of Bridge, like who in USS, who helped me. They send out lists of scholarships, of jobs, of volunteer opportunities on campus to help you out. They also have newsletters to talk about like events, any workshops they had. There was a snack pantry, so if I was running out of time between classes, I would go there to grab a quick snack that are free. All of these resources are free. They had fresh produce. So in my second year, I was living in an apartment. That's where I would sometimes get vegetables from, so save money. they had a DACA clinic. Last year I had to reapply for DACA, and I had to do it on my own. And I kind of wanted to do it on my own. I kind of wanted to show my parents I'm an adult now. I can figure this out on my own. And I was able to because USS helped me. They helped me pay for the $500 application fee, which is a lot. And they helped me fill out the legal work, and they did all of that for me. And it alleviated a lot of stress from my parents, from me. You know, they could really tell that I was okay, that I was responsible to have these on time. They have emergency funds. That's where they help me. That's the money that was used to help me pay for the application. And they have help with navigating grad school, because it's like when you're going into college, you're only thinking about college, or at least for me. And once you're like in your second year or your third year, that's where you're like, okay, what am I gonna do? Like, do I want to go to grad school? What am I gonna do? You know? So they have these workshops to help navigate grad school. Next thing, and I think this is my final thing, is being hours away from home. I noticed a lot of people when going into Santa Cruz, a lot of people are from the South California area, and it's probably because like you want to get as far away as possible from home. That at least that was it for me, because I was the eldest, so I was responsible of my siblings, of like all the work that my parents had to do. And it kind of felt like college is my opportunity to be on my own, to grow on my own, to finally only focus on myself. So I chose the farthest college I could. And then I ended up being homesick. And I was just really confused, because it was like, I want to leave home so bad. Why am I missing home now? So these are some of the tips that Carolina also mentioned, some more of that I did, which were go out with my friends. All the friends that I met through Bridge, I went out with them. For classes, I try to make friends, and it's always so scary because everyone is scared to make friends, but like everyone is scared. So if you just step up, it's the same feeling. I experienced new places in Santa Cruz. I went out. So if you go to Santa Cruz, don't just stay at home, stay in your dorm. Like I noticed a lot of people who felt lonely if they stayed in one like area. I went out, try to explore the area. For transportation to get home, I used Facebook Rideshare, which is like a Facebook page where students post like they say, oh, I'm gonna go to LA this weekend, $20 a seat. Like that's the cheapest I found a ride for. $20 a seat, that's like cheap to go home. There's also Greyhound, but that takes hours, like a lot of hours out of your day. It's like almost half a day, probably like 10 hours. That's probably the longest Greyhound ride I had. And then booking flights ahead of time. If you see that spring break is in this week, try to book it 2 months ahead. The cheapest flight I got was for $40. So, you know, save your money. That's all the info I have from my family transition. This is my contact info, and yeah, I encourage everyone to ask questions.
Alrighty. Thank you. I think that's everyone. I know we got in one question, but I do want to take maybe a minute or two for folks to send in questions if you do have questions. This is an opportunity for you to connect with us regarding anything that you may have heard in the presentation, or just questions that you may have. I know we got one regarding UC-SHIP, which I will address shortly. But I just wanted to make sure that you really take up folks on their advice and they say ask the questions, or you know, get your questions answered now while you have current students and you know, staff members who can help advise you. Some questions that may be particularly personal, we probably would ask you to reach out to us personally if they are you know, personal, but no questions a dumb question, and we encourage folks. So with regard to UC-SHIP, I'll go ahead and jump in and take that question. So we got a question saying, will the SHIP insurance info be covered in this presentation? Specifically, will the SHIP insurance be waived for low-income students? So that question will depend on your financial aid package. And so depending on your EFC, so most students, if you're filling out the California Dream Act, or if you're filling out FAFSA, once you're done, they give you what they call a student aid report. And depending on your EFC, and this has been the best indicator for me, if you have an EFC of 0, more than likely they're going to give you a grant to cover that UC ship. A lot of students think if they waive that grant that they are going to save money. No, that grant covers the entire cost. So to answer the question, yes, it will be covered if you're depending on your financial aid and income situation. I know that some folks have not been packaged yet, and I think the campus is taking their time to get folks packaged, just given all of the uncertainty. But usually, once you're packaged, you'll be able to see whether or not they gave you that grant. So, yeah.
We received another question, Mark.
So whoever, if another mentor wants to take on that.
Yeah. They asked, is there someone we can contact if we need help paying for college, like the process, or I guess where to go for this for contact?
I can answer that question. So I used I went to my EOP advisor, and she was able to help me out with that. Like pretty much with if you are in Bridge, or if you're not, like if you're just an EOP student, you can make academic appointments or just appointments with an EOP counselor of your choice. And from there, that's when I talked to my EOP counselor, and I was like, hey, like there's this much that I need to pay out of pocket, but I don't have the funds or a job right now to be covering that. And she pretty much put in like a request for like emergency fund for me, and that's what happened. That's how I was able to receive that money, which went straight into what I needed to the gap that which my financial aid didn't cover. Another resource is also Slug Support, who has also helped me out personally. With that, you could also make an appointment through I believe Slug Success, which it's like a website you could just look up, like UCSC Slug Success, and then that's how you can make appointments with like your advisors, like all the different kinds of advisors, and Slug Success, which they are also another resource for help.
There's also a question on whether or not the PowerPoint will be shared to their emails.
I can also answer that question. Yes, so we will be sending out the PowerPoint as well as the recording of this meeting. And yeah, just in case you guys are wondering.
Other questions, things that other mentors who didn't present, anything that you would like to add or say? We have about 12 minutes. I am trying to be mindful of time. I don't want folks to feel like I'm forcing them to ask questions, but while you have us here, definitely recommend it.
Yes, I can answer that question about the Wi-Fi. So basically, the UC system and also other resources are offering like Wi-Fi to be at a reduced cost. So if you do go to the link that I put into the slide at the very end, it will take you to a website that will ask you a survey, and will basically set you up with Wi-Fi. So just in case if you feel like, hey, like my Wi-Fi is not really working that well, I'm sort of scared how it will be with lectures. They can set you up with like getting with Wi-Fi. Also ITS, I have explained earlier, the Internet Technology Services. You can put in a ticket for that, and also reach out to someone to see if they can help you with getting Wi-Fi as well. But yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Was that Andrew? But I'm not sure what happened. I was just gonna screen that other question. To be very honest, I don't even know what tomorrow's gonna look like, let alone to think about September. And I know I'm saying that jokingly, but we've just, a lot of things have been so uncertain, and with regards to how they're going to handle this thing, given COVID. And I know that um, for the month of September, if this is someone who's also participating in Bridge, we will be hosting our virtual Bridge writing workshop remotely. And we'll be sending out more information and setting you all up with that. But yes, you're correct. The quarter technically starts, I think it's the week of the 26th of September. Let me double back. The first day of classes is the 1st of October for sure, but let me look at Welcome Week. Or if anyone else knows off the top of their head, feel free to jump in. But I want to say it's the week of the 23rd. That's what I want to say. I think they're going to have folks moving in starting on the 23rd, 24th, potentially 25th, depending on whether or not you have chosen to have a housing assignment for fall. And then they'll have move in, is my understanding. Usually there's a list of welcome week activities that take place from the 28th through the 1st. That kind of work your way up into classes. It's a lot of it is orientations and just general information that organizations like that you're affiliated with. So for EOP, for example, we'll be doing a workshop with folks. So you'll start to see a lot of those requests come in. It really is an opportunity for you to connect with other campus orgs as well. Usually, we have a larger resource fair, but this year, given COVID, a lot of things have been uncertain. So hopefully that answers the question, kind of. Any of the other mentors want to take that question? Not all at once.
I personally haven't had the blue and gold program before, but I would highly suggest that you maybe try looking at the financial aid website that we have for UCSC to try and see what the blue and gold program is about. Also, what you can do is contact the financial aid office too. Hopefully they can explain it further, because I haven't personally gotten the blue and gold program before. Sorry about that.
I don't want to say any wrong answers, but I'm pretty sure the blue and gold plan helps out low income students. And I think I qualified for it, but I think it was just another way of saying that you're like the school's gonna cover your tuition. I could be wrong, but I know I did qualify for it, and it should be for most, like, all low income students.
And I just dropped the link. I honestly did a quick Google search, and I know everybody probably could have done that, but I just dropped the link and it just gave some overview if you wanted to look more into that, more depth. Right. Any other questions while you have us here? Any last things that any of the other mentors want to add? I just want to make sure be mindful of that. One once.
I have something. I think it's really important to make sure you're keeping up with your UCSC portal and making sure that you're up to date with all the things on your to-do list. Because if you like don't do certain things on your to-do list, then it could have an effect on when they send out your financial package, or affect like when you can enroll for classes and stuff. So yeah, I think it's really important to make sure that you're up to date on your to-do list.
Thank you. That's super important. I think I would add to that as well to say the school primarily is going to start contacting you through your UCSC email. And I know it's common practice for a lot of students to continue to check their maybe standard Yahoo or Google or Gmail, like whatever other email service you have. But I encourage you all to keep that in mind, because that's where a lot of your main messaging is going to go. And I can't stress email enough. You know, it's something that I know no one taught me how to even form an email prior to coming to college, and this was years ago. But you know, I know times have changed, like a lot of systems have adapted, but I would say that's something that I would say you want to keep, you know, an eye out for as well. Looks like we got another question around AP credits.
I could answer. So I'll just read the question. It says, I had enough AP credits that I have sophomore standing. What exactly does that mean? Does that reduce the amount of quarters I need to spend in college? Not necessarily. I think it just depends on your major, what classes you take. For example, I passed the AP English language exam, so I didn't have to take the writing, like one of the writing requirements for the school. I mean, I'm still like on track. I'm not behind or ahead, but I can. Does anyone else want to answer that?
Some of the AP classes can be, if like let's say they don't count towards your classes, they can be counted towards credit. So let's say like for me, for example, I did human geography back in high school, and it gave me like 7 extra credits for you know, for myself as an individual. So I would just say it also, like Maria said before, it does depend on your major too. But yeah.
Also to comment, certain scores will like give you certain benefits as well. Like Maria said, she passed the AP English, so did I, and so I don't have to take writing 1. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, but sometimes if you get a lower score, it won't go towards anything. And there's a list on the UCSC page, which I'll find and link below, that will verify what kind of score you have to get in order for it to count towards your GEs or like credits at all.
I just attached that link right now. Thank you, Ian. But yeah, I just attached the chart where you can click on that and it'll show which AP classes that you took and the score that you got and how it transfers to the UCSC and what GEs satisfy as well.
Thanks, Shaw. All right, we have about another minute. I guess I'll wrap up by saying I just want to thank you all for joining us and taking time. One, to just hear our experiences of the current students. I think, you know, in this new reality, virtual reality, one of the things that we've been trying to think about for a program like Bridge, where we are a huge community on campus and we love to connect and build community, is how we can do that virtually. And I think by sharing stories, by learning about the mentors, by, you know, grabbing their hand when they're extending their support, is going to become really important for us to still, you know, have that sense of community. And as of now, we know fall is remote. We're still trying to figure out what it's going to look like, you know, as we move on and as we deal with COVID. But know that you have a group of people who've been where you are, and who want to share the resources, who want to support you throughout your first year. And that's a big part of what we want to do, because being a first generation college student, you may not have that support from your family. So we are your family away from, your home family. And so we appreciate everybody taking the time, being patient with us, and also being flexible. I know we had the schedule for yesterday and had to make some changes. Yeah, I just want to thank you all for taking the time. And I encourage you to reach out to the mentors. Their contact information is there. We will be following up with, the presentation and the recording. I will make that available. But yeah, if anything else comes up, you have our contact, our main bridge email as well. You can reach out, be able to support you from there. But I just want to thank everybody for taking time today. Yeah. With that said, I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their week, the rest of their evening. Do something productive, go out for a run, get some sunlight, but socially distance yourself. All right, folks.